gaming, free live entertainment and music will be happening all over the casino complex day and night, as well as all the sporting action from here and overseas. Adelaide Casino, where the action is. You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly. Drink responsibly.
If you have your mind set on creating the workplace of the future, you need to talk to someone who thinks like you do. Resource Furniture specialises in designing environments that humanise spaces and connects people. Modern, consultative, inspired. These are the guiding principles which underpin every project we complete at Resource Furniture. Work with us to create a work-wise environment. Explore the commercial gallery at resourcefurniture.com.au.
$13.95, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Peter Godfrey.
Good morning, 6.5 minutes past 5 now. Chilly this morning, 7 degrees at the moment. Very chilly. I think we were spoiled the other morning with that little very brief burst of warm weather, but back to reality with the cool weather. Let's take a look at how it is over in New Zealand. Across the ditch, Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz. How are you, Selwyn?
Yeah, not too bad, Peter. Can report that the weather is improving over this side of the ditch, particularly compared to this time last week. In Auckland, for example, we had an overnight temperature of 9 degrees and heading for a high of 14. But there is extreme cold weather that has been down in the central North Island of New Zealand, for example, and around the Desert Road area. But we can go into that a little bit more in depth just after the roundup, Peter. But certainly the weather is... the winter chill and that last cold blast, perhaps, of winter has certainly come across.
It's hanging on. Yeah, well, I don't want to brag at all, but we had the other day, 20 degrees and an overnight temperature. I think the lowest we got to was about 15. And that was sort of just before sunrise. We were sitting on 17, 18 degrees most of the night, which was just brilliant.
Sounds like you got your summer skates on there.
Yeah, and then it all fell apart again and we're back to cold, wet and windy.
Blame it on the wind direction.
It was just a bit of a tease. So anyway, give us a roundup of what's sort of making some of the headlines around New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm just looking here at the New Zealand Herald online, and it's leading with All Blacks Sevens through to the quarterfinals despite the defeat. So that everyone here is kind of holding on to that slim chance. Once again, we'll talk about that a little bit further into the bulletin. It's also got a story here that is saying that All Black great from the 1960s and early 70s, Sir Colin Meads, has been diagnosed with cancer of the pancreas, Peter. This is sad news. Apparently he's been unwell for a good year, and the diagnosis has come through now. So that's the New Zealand Herald. And on the Stuff website, which is Fairfax's website, once again, it's looking at the Olympics here. It's focusing in on Mike Dawson, who failed to get a medal position in the slalom. So we've also got Colin Meads here, news that he has been diagnosed with cancer of the pancreas. We go across to Radio New Zealand. They're leading, Peter, with this issue that is big over in Australia, of course, relating to Nauru and claims of alleged abuse and a report that has been leaked. The New Zealand Labour Party, its spokesperson for Foreign Affairs, is reported to be writing to his Australian counterpart, Ms Bishop, about the concerns that the party has. The New Zealand government itself is remaining quiet on that, Peter. Then on Radio New Zealand there is also reported there of an expectation that the official cash rate is going to be dropped by 25 points down to a 2% one later this morning. For those that follow the money market or watching the New Zealand dollar comparisons, that will have a bearing on where the New Zealand dollar is tracking, albeit for the short term, no doubt on that. Radio New Zealand is going, like I was saying, was going really big on this news in Australia relating to claims of systemic abuse in Nauru. So that's pretty much a roundup, Peter, of the news that's breaking over the side of the ditch.
All right. Was there much reportage of our little issue with our census the other night? Did that make your papers at all over there?
Yeah, a lot of it kind of tongue-in-cheek in the sense. A lot of us over here were also thinking, don't get too cocky, New Zealand authorities, that no one's impregnable to a hack.
Indeed,
but
yes.
It certainly has, yes.
Yes, no, there was a lot of tongue-in-cheek coverage of it here as well, and it's ongoing too, I think. It probably will be for some time, because that website's still not up and running as yet, so the census...
As I read, yes.
Yeah. Census on hold. You're in a... what do you say? You're in the grip of a snow monster over there in New Zealand at the moment. Big freeze happening.
Big freeze, yes. For the last 9-10 days, Peter, particularly down in the South Island, it is firmly in the grip of a polar blast that has been going through there. It started about this time last week, where a major storm came across the country from the south-southwest and dumped huge amounts of snow in the South Island. That's to be expected at this time of year. People are very resilient down there to such things. There hasn't been any reportage of widespread loss of stock or any threats to lives and etc. But up in the North Island, while everyone has been safe and stock is fine, there's been a major dump of snow and snow flurries around the Central Plateau area. That's where Mt Ruapehu and the ski fields of Whakapapa and also Turoa, where they're located. The desert road that cuts a line through, it was closed for some time. But even more indicative of what the weather has been is the Napier-Taupo Highway was closed due to snow and heavy falls there, continuing right through from Friday until the end of Tuesday. Many schools closed in the Hawke's Bay area, and also power, Peter, were power cuts that were happening right through that cold period. So people were having to really get down to being resourceful and keeping warm, keeping their kids, relatively safe and warm in their houses, even without heating, Peter.
Yeah, not a good time to be having power cuts. And assumably those power cuts were due to the weather, due to lines down or things like that? Yeah,
what happens is in the freeze is a lot of the insulators on the top of poles on the high power tension towers, they freeze up and crack. That was a problem about 2-3 years ago, a widespread problem actually, and that was taking out power all over the place when there was the big freeze at the end of the winter season as well. That was seen critically as being that Transpower, the main supplier of electricity to the power providers, had been skimping on its maintenance, and that was disputed by Transpower, but that seemed to be the common belief of what was going on. A little bit of this in the localised area. Once again, Hawke's Bay, it gets cold down there, Peter. It's on the east coast of the North Island, there in the central North Island, on the east coast, on the Pacific coast. In summer, it's wonderfully hot, warm climate, and in winter it can get crisp. But Napier-Taupo Highway closing for that amount of time is almost record kind of stuff. It does close due to snow occasionally during a season, but not to that degree. So it's quite big news for that whole region. What it means for Hawke's Bay going into the summer is probably it'll recover really well. Also the buds, people will be just looking at the buds on the pit fruit trees and things like that. It's a big produce growing area, and also grapes, but it might have just come in nice and early, perhaps a little bit earlier than what it would be if it came a little bit later, where it would cause some damage in the spring.
Okay, and bracing with the curve against the cold snap. I guess he was bracing for bigger power bills too because of it, no doubt. Yeah,
there's an estimate that throughout the country, due to the extra cold that hit in the last 7-8 days, that $4 million extra will be spent by families on paying their power bills when they come in at the end of the month.
Okay.
That's on top of what would normally be the case for this time of year.
Yeah.
So I guess everybody in Australia knows about that, with the competitive nature of the electricity providers and the demand elements. The power goes up pretty quickly when the power is under drain.
Yeah,
so, there you go. $4 million extra.
Just for this billing period.
It's almost $1 for every Kiwi that lives in the country, Peter.
Okay. Not good. All right,
so good.
Not good. Let's just have a quick break, Selwyn, and then we'll come right back and we'll delve into the Olympics and the touchy subject of the the women's rugby sevens the other day between our two countries?
Yes, that was a great game. We'll get stuck into that one.
We'll get stuck into that. All right, be right back with you in a moment. Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz.
5AA Breakfast.
Our news director, Matthew Pantelis, is the Adelaide Uni Bridge this morning. I believe still dawned with love locks, but that's soon to change.
Matt or the bridge?
How are you, Matt?
The bridge, hopefully not me so much, but about 1,000 of these things on the bridge. The council voting last night.
No issue too minor or stupid for the council to spend hours discussing.
5AA Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
I'm Dr. Hendrika Meyer with a message about our emergency departments. The ED is here to deal with emergencies like heart attack or stroke, and we're always here if you need us. But for gastro or flu, consider seeing a GP. For minor cuts or grazes, try your local pharmacy. And for a cold, you might just need rest. If it's not an emergency, visit sahealth.sa.gov.au for other care options. And let's keep our emergency departments for emergencies.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Take the trip of a lifetime with Phil Hoffman Travel aboard Astor for a magical Adelaide to London voyage. Travel the Indian Ocean, South Africa and the Iberian Peninsula in comfort and style with cruise and maritime voyages. This 47-night package departs March 9, 2017 from only $7,530 per person. That's less than $160 per day, including London to Adelaide flight and 2-night stay in London. Visit pht.com.au or one of our stores today.
Like any great footy team, you need to build on a solid foundation. 25 years ago, the Adelaide Fresh Group did just that. They grew year on year by putting you first, offering a totally unique and rewarding buying experience. Today, they lead the way with their selection of cold meats, cheeses, gourmet continental goods, fresh flowers and more. So call into Adelaide Fresh Morfett Vale, Tony and Marks at Newton, Glenunga and the Brickworks, plus Chanella's at Prospect, all part of Adelaide Fresh and always in season.
What do you get when you cross a world-famous supermarket with one fabulous coastal location? Henley Square Foodland. The state-of-the-art supermarket at Henley Square now makes it even more convenient to shop and get the best for your family. With great service, huge range of groceries, restaurant quality produce that can't be beat, and free undercover car parking for the first 2 hours. Why shop anywhere else? Henley Square Foodland. Check us out at henleysquarefoodland.com.au for more info on our fresh produce and delicious recipe ideas.
You love the games, and at Adelaide Casino, we do too. So come and experience the fun of our very first Adelaide Games 2016, starting on July 15. Meal deals, drink specials, gaming, music and free live entertainment will be happening all over the casino complex. So pay us a visit and experience a true world-class competition. The Adelaide Games 2016. Adelaide Casino, where the action is. You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly. Drink responsibly.
Remember family holidays on the Yorke Peninsula? Hopefully you're still enjoying them. Long walks on the beach, hauling in a fresh catch of whiting, playing a round of golf at a Greg Norman design course. There's never been a better time to start creating tomorrow's memories. Secure your dream coastal property at the Dunes at Port Hughes with 10% off golf course frontage allotments and the stamp duty paid for a limited time. With land starting from $77,500, visit thedunesyorkepeninsula.com.au. Licence number RLA 226409. Conditions apply.
Peter Godfrey, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
18 minutes past 5, and we're joined this morning as we are on a Thursday morning rather. What day is it? Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz, looking at what's happening across the ditch. Selwyn, to the Olympics, to the Games. Should we get the rugby sevens out of the way first of all? So, how are you feeling that our rugby sevens women's team took the gold from you guys? You okay about it?
Well, yeah, the disappointment is obviously there when you could see the track of the game, particularly in that second phase of the game. But I've got to say, Peter, it was a fantastic game. It's been celebrated over this side of the ditch, actually, probably because Kiwis are very relieved that they've actually got a medal. Our Olympic performance so far has been a bit flat, a bit like what you were saying off air, Peter. Your London games were a bit flat for Australia as you went into it. New Zealand's suffering that at the moment, and some of our hopes have failed to fire. But getting back to that sevens, I'm not trying to avoid it, Peter, just to give it some background context to it. But the game, there was a marvellous kind of competition in that first half of the game. And the Kiwis were thinking, we could do this. Australia were the favourites, the Olympic favourites going into it, and they certainly showed at the end of the game that they were the ones that deserved that gold. The silver, our team, the women's seven, they celebrated Australia's class actually by performing and honouring a haka, a woman's version of the haka, in dedication to the Australian team, and it was quite a special moment. You don't often see that kind of thing. But the silver, I'm telling you, Peter, with medals being pretty thin and far between in New Zealand, they're being taken as that's a good one to have.
Celebrate,
so there's no animosity there at all.
No, nothing wrong with the silver, that's for sure.
Sorry, Peter. The two bit of delay on the phone, I think. But the two successes that New Zealand has had in this picking up medals, and those are 2 silvers at this stage. So that's New Zealand's way behind where it would normally expect to be in the medal takes, but they've both involved Australia, and there was a fantastic surprise for New Zealand in the women's shooting with the shotguns. There was the silver medalist was Natalie Rooney, and she surpassed the pundits back home coming through the competition to go head-to-head against her Australian fellow competitor, of course, with a gold medal winner, Catherine Skinner. And there was a tense shootout between the two, sorting out, who was going to actually get that gold. It was down to the two of them. And I tell you, just about anyone who had access to a television screen or online was watching intently to see how this went. It came down to the last kind of shot with your Australian there, Catherine Skinner. That thing that fires out and the shotgun goes up and bang, and either hits or it misses, and you get that blur of pink kind of dust.
Yep.
Well, it hardly got above shoulder height, and your woman there, Catherine Skinner, she nailed it, and that meant that she was secured for the gold. The New Zealander, Natalie Rooney, she had to have her shot as well, Peter, just to formalise it and also to secure that silver thing. The marvellous thing is your shooter, they almost stand shoulder to shoulder in these competitions when it's down to the field. She just stood there totally still and composed, knowing that she'd just nailed the gold with a fantastic shot, and it was silence while the Kiwi, her Kiwi counterpart, just had her shot, got the thing as well, and then the celebration started. And I know that the Kiwi competitor there, Natalie Rooney, she was thrilled to bits with how her Australian competitor actually conducted herself there. So that, once again, that gold was hotly contested there between the two, but it was great that New Zealand got the silver there and pushed the others, very competitive sport apparently, and pushed them out of contention there.
Indeed. I just had a call from Mick just before, just a little bit tongue-in-cheek, as Mick often is, just wondering whether your Prime Minister John Key will be recalling the New Zealand ambassador from Canberra back to New Zealand as a bit of a diplomatic protest over you guys losing to us. Could there be a diplomatic incident because we've had the gold and you got silver?
Well, if you knew John Key, there'd be no diplomatic incident ever because all he does is tell jokes and smile.
Of course.
You'll be safe. Our fella back in Canberra will be able to enjoy his canaps or canopies, whichever way you want to say it, for a bit longer, Peter. So there you go.
Fair enough. There we go.
With the Olympics, there are a few things coming up. In the time to come, you'll see people coming through. Like watch the Kiwis in the shot put. Valerie Adams, she's the world champion, has been in the Olympic champion, multiple gold medalist there with the Olympics. She's coming through and she's expected to be at the top of her form. And wonderful too that her competitors in the past always had the doping scandals surrounding their performances, and Valerie has always come through as clean, and it's great to see that she's doing it through skill and absolutely strength. So that's one of them that's watching. There's been disappointments, Peter, in the equestrian sports there. Mark Todd was leading the Kiwi team in the equestrians earlier on, and it looks he knocked over a few rails yesterday, and the hopes of a medal were dropped there. But the big eyes at the moment, Peter, are the men's rugby sevens that are going to be playing Fiji in the quarterfinals that come up later this morning, pretty soon actually. And the Kiwis are only in the quarterfinals because of Fiji beating the United States in the tournament. Otherwise, the Kiwis would have been out of having any shot at any medal at all. So thanks to Fiji, we're through there just and pushing some of the others out. But New Zealand not going too well at all in the rugby sevens, Peter. They were expected to pick up a medal there. It's looking pretty tough for them to actually get through, but we'll see how they go against Fiji. Fiji is the favourites for the tournament.
Okay, and I think the men's team, the Australian team, South Africa later on today as well, I think.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be, from the point of view of running kind of Southern Hemisphere rugby sevens, that'll be a great game to watch. Fiji, watch them. They throw it around. They're athletic. They've really got flair, and that's why they're considered the favourites of this. So if you guys get through to play Fiji later on in this tournament, say that goes that way, it'll be a fantastic game to go.
Indeed. Plenty more to come. We've still got a long way to go, I guess, with the game, so it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. Selwyn, thanks for joining us this morning. Stay warm over there with that cold snap you got. Put an extra jumper on, and you'll be right. All right. Have a great week, mate. We'll catch up with you next week.
Okay, Peter, take care.
Thanks, Selwyn. Bye-bye. Selwyn Manning, he's editor of EveningReport.nz. Time now's, what are we up to? 26 minutes past 5.
Looking to get away? Every Sunday with Michael Keelan, it's the Travel Lounge, thanks to Phil Hoffman Travel. Each Sunday between 8:30am and 9:30am, the Phil Hoffman Travel team will be taking calls to answer your travel questions. All calls will be answered off air in the 5AA Travel Lounge. Call 8419-1473. Take a seat in the Travel Lounge, thanks to Phil Hoffman Travel. Sundays with Michael Keelan on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles has the most exquisite ranges of hand-finished and encaustic tiles from Italy and Spain. Normally only found in exclusive boutiques where clients wait months for supply, these magnificent tiles are in stock now at National Tiles for immediate delivery at less than half what you'd expect to pay. If you're building or renovating, I guarantee you